Hello, I'm Junna Begum, Artistic Director for Bangla Week, which is part of Bada, Bangladeshi Artist Development Agency. I'm here with my guest, Fateha Begum, who's a theatre director in Birmingham.
Hiya, Junna. Nice to be here today to talk about the projects that we're working on, especially Bangla Week. And it's part of this whole 7-day festival, which is looking at celebrating Bangla heritage artists. So there's photography exhibitions, there's visual arts, there's dance, theatre. There's a whole range of things really, a family day. So it's something for everybody to celebrate artists coming together from Bangladesh heritage arts. And also being in a space that is, I'd say, quite privileged in a way, because it's not a space that people get to perform in or have access to regularly, especially artists from our diaspora. So this is really important this whole week in terms of providing that space, those opportunities for artists both young and old. So Bada is instrumental and very important an organisation to be able to lead on this kind of project.
And Fateha, you are also part of the Bada collective. It's a collective made up of the Bangla arts community and also the established organisations such as the Hippodrome, the Birmingham Rep, the Royal Birmingham Conservator, RBC and the Midlands Arts Centre. So some of the kind of more established, iconic cultural sectors, and they're all part of this because this is around a collective decision to, or an intervention, I would say, to kind of make sure that Bangla heritage artists have space, have the opportunities, have access to be able to not only develop their practice but also to profile and platform their work. And so this is what Bangla Week is all about. And we should also say Bangla Week is part of a wider kind of collective, which is Journeys,
Yep.
And that includes Sati House, Handsworth Creative, Simmer Down Festival, Collaboration, and Bada. And it was part of the...
So basically it was this whole, the sort of Journeys Consortium applied to the Inclusive Communities Fund, which was left over from the Commonwealth Games Legacy Fund. And we put in a bid to work on a sort of a year-long programme, as you might say, with the different consortium partners. And Sati House, which is who I'm working for at the moment, we put in a bid to create a performance piece that will then launch Bangla Week. And then the other partners also put in to do different creative activities within the year. So that's the whole, big thanks to the Inclusive Communities Fund, we've been able to have this project,
Bangla Week takes place between the 16th to the 23rd of November. We do have a soft launch happening on the 9th of November to really kind of gear us up all up. And that's on the 9th at 12 to 4 p.m. at Soho House. And it's a family fun day, but it's all about kind of showcasing our young emerging talent. So there'll be arts and crafts, there'll be jewellery making, there'll be portraiture classes, and really a chance for people to get on the mic and do their thing. And that's, like I said, it's a soft launch. So please do go on our website, which is www.legacy-westmidlands.org. So Fats, I've kind of got to know you over the last 3 years.
Has it been that long?
It's almost 3 years, yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, that's what it is.
And, we've done a lot of kind of work together,
Yep.
a lot of kind of sharing of ideas and really kind of, I suppose, getting to know each other and supporting each other. It's just been really amazing to meet another Bangla heritage professional like yourself. And as we talked about profiling and giving space to Bangla artists, we are two, cultural practitioners of Bangla heritage in one place, which is sometimes quite rare.
No, it's rare.
Rare.
And I remember when I first met you, I was like, are you Bangladeshi? And you were like, yeah. I'm like, yay.
That's the first thing you said to me.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
Are you Bangladeshi?
Yeah,
and I said, yeah. And she said, I'm Bangladeshi. I was like, oh, it's so nice to meet another Bangladeshi.
Exactly, because,
person.
working in the arts, and surprisingly in Birmingham, like there's still not you know, much representation, you know, in the arts and stuff. And so Asian arts is small, and then you got a smaller pool of Bangladeshi artists and everything. You know, you've got amazing artists like Muhammad Ali, and then, you know, you either have that or then you don't hear of any others. But there are so much talent in our communities, but it's just being able to sort of, you know, share, and it's nice to work and bounce ideas off other Bangladeshi heritage artists, because I guess in a way you have that shorthand. Mm-hmm. And you know where you come, you know where each other's coming from in a sense, and you know, it's like, it's that support. I feel like I've been supported by you a lot, which has been amazing. Just to have space to create and think of ideas and get excited about ideas and say, oh, we could do this, we can do that. And I've not had that, to be honest, and especially not even Bangladeshi, but female as well. Don't forget, that's another thing. I mean, like, so much of our world is male dominated, and then to have space where you can grow as a female Muslim Bangladeshi is quite unique, really, and it has its challenges, but equally, you know, I love it, and you know, I wouldn't think, I don't think this is work for me. I never think I'm going to work. I just think I'm just doing what I love doing, which is creating performances with young people, with community groups, and also giving them opportunities to perform on stage. And the project at the moment with Sathi House, which is working with a group of 17 crazy, you know, hyper excited young people who have never performed on a professional stage before, to sort of tell their stories, really, their journeys, which is quite apt because the whole project's been funded, you know, through inclusive communities, and our title is Journeys, and it's, you know, getting them to share their stories, and their stories go, like, some of these children are fourth generation, so it's looking at how do we weave those stories into a performance piece that people will hopefully come and enjoy and come and watch and support these young people, because it's so important, especially in this day and, you know, age.
I know you specialise in youth theatre. How long have you been working in youth theatre? And I suppose, you know, what's been the highlights and what's been the challenges?
I've been youth theatre. I've been working since I joined my own youth theatre, isn't it? I mean, SAMPAD, which is another organisation, they helped set up the first Asian youth theatre in Birmingham, I guess. And from that, it sort of opened doors for me, made me realise that there's a world outside of Aston, and, you know, skills, and, you know, I suppose it just inspired a desire to do something different and not follow the norms, really. And it wasn't just like as a rebellious thing, it was more like actually I really enjoyed doing it, and I felt that this is a really nice way of sort of expressing who I was creatively, and having fun at the same time, and also seeing parts of England. I mean, we went on tour as like little 16-year-olds, like doing performances at different festivals, and I've been, you know, working in theatre for over 20 years, and I still think it's still so important now. And I think the challenges of being back when I started doing this is that parents were like, no, you're not doing theatre.
It was not really a kind of, I mean, that's the whole point of, I mean, if you look at the kind of Bada, the actual acronym for our agency, and Aftab Rahman, who's who's the chair of Bada, but also the CEO of Legacy West Midlands, and this is pretty much his kind of brainchild, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, he came up with the term Bada, which means rubbish. So, you know, art has always been considered as something a bit of a rubbish, bit of a this, not really anything serious. So that's where the name Bada comes from.
Yeah, it's Bada in Bengali, isn't it? In
yes,
Bangla and stuff. Because it is. It's what's this rubbish? What's this nonsense?
And it's very much what you've just said, that you know, it wasn't really considered something that you really engage in. It's certainly not on a professional level. And also, I think both culturally and religiously, it's not really encouraged.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I wanted to ask you, what are the kind of benefits other than you know, being an actor or, you know, being in front of a screen? You know, what's the benefit of being engaged in youth theatre, but also looking at theatre as a profession? Because there's so many facets of, you know, areas that people can go into, and it's not just about
no, exactly. And I think that's the biggest, I suppose, myth, really, because when you tell people, oh, do you want to do a theatre project, the first thing is like, oh, well, I don't want to be an actor. I go, well, you don't have to be an actor. And I think, you know, the arts generally is, when it's taught in schools, is to provide young people with that holistic sort of output. You know, you can be a book study and book smart, but then if you can't articulate yourself, if you can't, you know, have a social interaction, have eye contact, really stand your ground in a social setting, then it's all for nothing in a way, because, you know, like any work that you do requires you to talk to individuals, to other people, to work in teams, to work to, you know, time pressures, deadlines, work to a brief. And that's the same thing in theatre. You know, your brief is to create a show, therefore you need to do X, Y, and Z. And it's not just that. I think the confidence, like, would probably be the most beneficial thing for me, just working in the last 20 years with the different groups, whether it be young people, you know, over 50s group of women, you know, women who have come from different communities, migrant groups and stuff, but just seeing their journey from the beginning of a project to the end. And it never like fails to astound me, like how much each individual grows in themselves and stuff, and actually giving them the confidence to, you know, be proud of who they are and have their place in wherever, you know, where they want to be, kind of thing, and not fear that, oh, this is, you know, I'm not sure about who I am. This is more like, yeah, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. And that's it. And even if they never do another theatre project again, that's okay by me. Or it's not about the show, it's more about
the processes.
The processes and the journeys that each person goes through, and what they take from it is really up to them and stuff. But I just love helping to facilitate that kind of journey for those young people, or for all participants that do the projects that I'm involved with.
And that's the same approach that you're using for Wish Wash Time Machine, and that's the theatre piece. It's called Wish Wash Time Machine,
and that was designed.
To mention that.
No, Wish Wash Time Machine is it was, you know, with the work I do devise theatre a lot of the time, which is recreate a show from scratch. So I tend to avoid scripts. I think growing up doing Shakespeare, I just, you know, I couldn't relate to it, and it was just like, oh, this is really not my thing. And I really like creating new content. I like creating stories that actually reflected who I was, reflected my friends, my community. So the devising process usually is we come together as a group and we discuss ideas and try out different ideas. And the kids were like adamant. They were like, we have to have a time machine in here somewhere. Our show has to have a time machine. They were just obsessed with like going back in time. So a lot of the time it's a really co-creative process in terms of the young people or the participants would come up with the ideas, and then I just sort of mold it so that it fits into a narrative and it makes sense to them and they're happy with it. It's not like, oh no, that's it, I'm not gonna, you know, if I think, we try our ideas, we think, oh, that really worked, that was great, maybe that wasn't so great, let's you know, change this up and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's their project and they take ownership, and therefore they have that, yeah, it's that ownership, like it's theirs, that they created it. It's not like, oh, Fats came along and she gave us a play.
It's not imposed, it's coming from, it's their own creativity,
yeah.
It's their own process that they're doing.
Exactly.
And what's interesting also, isn't it, that as part of that, they're also learning skills like research, archival, looking at archival materials and things like that, because they're going and interviewing their parents and to find out about their kind of journeys from their respective countries, and, you know, all the things that they'd gone through. So that's a lot of research that they're doing. So, you know, they're learning about, as you say, you know, confidence building, being in front of a camera, being able to communicate, but they're also learning very, very valuable skills like research, you know, and interviewing, and these are skills that you know, people have to learn. So they're learning a variety of different skills, and I think it's really important that our families, our parents are aware of those kind of skills. I mean, things are obviously changing. I mean, these are, you know, you're talking about fourth generation young people. Their parents are probably like us.
Exactly.
And therefore, you know, we have a much more better sense of what some of these things entail. And I think it's about just pushing that a bit more to say, actually, working in theatre, working in arts, you have such an, you know, amazing set of skills that you can learn and utilise. And I mean, I don't want to quote any numbers, but I know that the creative and cultural industries is a large employer in the UK and across the world. So I think it's not an area or a sector to be dismissed, and it should not really be second to any other kind of career. You know, you look at theatre, behind the scene, you've got lighting, tech, you've got set design, costume design, movement design. There are so many things that people can do to create a show. So I think it's really important that parents do know about these opportunities.
Exactly, and it's not just the opportunities, also the access to the professionals from those industries as well.
Absolutely.
So, like you said, as part of this project, the young people had to go and research their family history. But it wasn't like, oh, well, go and find these questions. They actually spoke to a person, Junna Begum, who is who writes books about, she does oral history projects. And she came in and did a masterclass on the kind of questions that you need to ask in order to get content, depth and everything, so that it's not a superficial sort of, what's it called, just layer of information. There's actually something that we can use as a hook for the performance, really. So unless, so is that kind of thing, is access to seeing how professionals work in a way, like if they go into a masterclass at the Birmingham Hippodrome to do stage fighting, they're learning how to do that. So it's just, honing those skills, and also looking at having role models, I guess, to see that actually there's people doing this and wow, they're doing this as a job. This is quite cool. I never knew you can do that for a living. Or looking at what they do themselves and think, oh, maybe I could turn this into, monetize it really. But it's interesting that you say that they are fourth generation and they are creative, but then with, digital media and social media, I feel sometimes that kids are more inward. They're just like on the screens a lot and stuff. So actually it's really strange. Like in one sense they are creative and they're creating all this, but then the actual physical skills of talking to somebody, or we'll have your teenage grunts and like it's like actually you need to articulate and be able to do that. I think sometimes it's just getting them out of that space for a while, just to have no screen time or do something where they are required to just talk and be amongst other fellow humans.
So Fats, you've been doing some amazing work over the last few years, and particularly in the last 5 years. In the last 3 years, I've really seen you kind of pivot into professional theatre directing. So what are your plans? What are your plans for the near future?
So nothing's set in stone, but I do have some ideas, just working with different organisations, the Hippodrome being one of the key partners is this, to have theatre hubs around the city where young people can access the youth theatre, and then to perform at the Hippodrome or the Rep really, or any premier venue in Birmingham, to sort of give those young people in areas where they don't, the arts is cut in schools, so drama is hardly an option really. So at least they've got something that they can do that's out of school time that will still develop them as young people. So my hope and ambition is to develop a series of theatre hubs, in the north, south, east, west of the city, and then centrally. So centrally where there's a space for them to perform and show things. And who knows what's next? I mean, those kids, even the Wish Wash Time Machine children, could go on tour. They might, people might want to see a bit more what they're doing. And I'd like to also carry on directing, bigger performances and see where that leads really. But I'm open to ideas and opportunities.
Well, it'd be quite amazing to see if Wish Wash Time Machine does go on tour, and we can say it was first on Bangla Week.
Exactly.
So thank you very much, Fats, for coming and joining me and really telling me a little bit about yourself and all the amazing things that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Junna.